Things in the market today, but could the economy be the wind at the backs of Republicans? Policy advisor for America's First Policies and author of The Capitalist Comeback, Andy Puzder, is with us. Andy, nice seeing you.
Good to be here, Charles. Thank you.
So let's start with the economy. That jobs report on Friday was just mind-boggling. To put it in perspective, out of the dozens, maybe 4 or 5 dozen Wall Street firms that handicapped it, the 313,000 was more than any of them had imagined. Not a single firm on Wall Street thought it could be that good last month, and yet it was.
Well, it's tremendous. And what you really saw was people coming back into the labor market. So that labor participation rate going up was really a spectacular move. We haven't been over 63% now for something like 44, 45 months. When President Obama came into office, we were at 65.7%. So if the president can begin to get that labor participation rate over 63%, continue to bring people back into the labor market, and things begin to stabilize, we'll see wage growth. You've got tremendous optimism, business optimism, consumer optimism. Businesses are investing. That creates jobs. It's drawing people back that were on the sidelines, and soon it will drive wages up. So really, the economy is just, it's the Trump boom. It's doing spectacularly well.
This is what the Fed couldn't engineer, right? With they printed all that money, the virtuous cycle where, to your point, success, people come in the job market, they make more, they need more workers bring more people off the sidelines. I mean, now it's begun, hasn't it?
It has, and it's a simple, you and I and Neil, we've been talking about this throughout the Obama presidency. This isn't rocket science. You can get people back, you can get people working, but government can't do it with more programs, more taxes, more regulation. You have to let the private sector do it. That's what makes America exceptional, and it will continue to produce as long as we don't stymie it.
What could stymie it at this point? I mean, I know on the stock market side, there's concerns about the Fed mishandling either running off that balance sheet, which, they're no man's land. They've never had to do it before from this level, or being just too aggressive with rate hikes. But from a Main Street perspective, what could derail what we see right now?
Something like if we had a foreign engagement that got out of hand, we had something with North Korea, although even on North Korea, President Trump, once again, everybody said, don't do it, you're doing this wrong, and he's really put us in a great negotiating position. If something very strange happened with these tariffs, and I don't see that happening, I don't see a trade war. We are the world's biggest customer.
Right.
And the one thing you don't want to do is offend your biggest customer.
So why
people
do all
will
these
negotiate.
economic theorists,
why
are all these economic theorists out there scaring the heck out of people, saying, this is Smoot-Hawley. In 1930, 20,000 items. This is a couple of things that are being egregiously dumped around the world. Yeah, China's taken massive market share since the year 2000, and they're not going to always be altruistic. They're always going to sell us cheap steel. Once we have no steel mills, I think the price goes up.
Well, you're absolutely, number one, the price goes up, but number two, if we get to the point where we can't produce steel or aluminum, if we're involved in two wars at one time, if we've got two engagements, say something happens in Asia and something happens in the Middle East that requires our involvement, and China says, and we don't have steel production, and China says, well, you know what? Maybe we're not going to give you so much. We can never be in that position. And I think we elected Donald Trump because he would protect the national interest. He's there trying to protect this country, and I think we need to back him up on it. Now, nobody wants a trade war. Sure. Nobody wants tariffs. They're going to do what Smoot-Hawley did. But what's wrong with negotiating better deals? I mean,
what's wrong with negotiating from strength? From strength. To your point, we are the world's largest consumer. China sold us $500 billion worth of stuff last year. I mean, let's call their bluff for once. For once, let's call their bluff.
Well, now they're talking about, you saw in the paper, they're talking about trying to help us reduce the trade deficit $100 billion. They're talking about not having such an export-dependent country. Well, that's the Chinese trying to save face. They want to be able to negotiate with this president and give him something that doesn't damage either economy.
Right.
And they will. That's what's going to happen.
So when the tariffs were brought up, of course, that expedited, if you will, the Gary Cohn leaving the White House, something that had been rumored for a long time. And a bunch of names have been floated there. And I've got to ask, because one of the names is Andy Puzder. I mean, is it something that you would consider if asked?
Well, look, if the president asks you to serve, you serve. I owe this country a lot. I came from a very, very working-class background, scooping ice cream at Baskin-Robbins, and worked my way up to running an international restaurant company. And there isn't another country in the world where a working-class kid like me could have done that. So if the president asks you to serve, I'm perfectly happy trying to defend him from the private sector. I've got the book coming out in April, which will discuss capitalism and the the forces that are opposed to the president. I really want to get that message out there, and I can do that from the private sector. But look, if the president asks you to serve, you serve, and it would be an honor to be in this administration.
Is there a name that you like or a person that you think would be great for the job, or is it too early to endorse anyone?
I like most of the people that have been recommended. Larry Kudlow's a friend, and I like Larry. I know Chris Liddell. He'd do a very good job. Peter Navarro and I worked together in the campaign. I like Peter a lot. I think he'd do a great job. There are a lot of good people who could do this. I can't say I have a personal favorite.
The idea,
although Peter Navarro's he's really, Peter's really elevated himself, and he would be very good at this.
He's not a globalist, though. I mean, a lot of people think this job should be a quote-unquote globalist, someone who understands Wall Street and the international community, knowing that President Trump would hedge their influence, or is that time over? Is it time to just focus on the task at hand?
Well, I think the question is, does President Trump want a contrary voice in the room, in which case he would pick somebody else? But if he wants somebody that's going to support his current policy initiatives, obviously Peter's been involved in that since the campaign and done a very good job. Now, Chris Liddell, he's been in the White House since the president took office, and he'd be spectacular as well.
Right, he's got a great resume as well.
Right, and Larry's been helping with everything that that's going on up there.
And he can't wait to check out the book. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Charles. Pleasure to be here.